Hello, hello, hello. My name is Jackson Black, and welcome to the Jackson Black Show. We started a little late. We had some technical difficulties. Somebody was using ancient technology. It happens. So we're going to do this how I usually start off. This is my guest, Insane Dane. Ladies and gentlemen, he is one half of the, what is it, TCW?
Wow, you forgot already.
I was going to say USA, but that was not the right place.
Tennessee Championship Wrestling, one half of their tag team champions, sir.
Boom. All right, I'm going to do a little rundown for what's coming up. MSWA, January 14th, Natural New Year with the Natural Chase Stevens. Beat him. Imperial Pro Wrestling this Saturday, and that's in Bristol, Tennessee. And then ETCW has Christmas Chaos. That's Christmas night. I'm pretty sure there is a SBCW show.
December 24th.
December 24th at tell them the details.
Yeah, December 24th will be live. I can't pronounce that town. I'm from
La Follette,
Tennessee. That's going to be at the SPCW Auditorium. That's December 24th. December 25th, EPW. That'll be in Boonville, Mississippi. Yeah. So back-to-back shows for me.
We'll see. We'll see if I end up on the SPCW show. We'll see. I got a pass. Okay, so coming up, actually right now, starting off right now, this is 8:16, it is already on. AEW Dynamite. Tonight we hear from the AEW World Champion. He's better than you, and you know it. MJF goes one-on-one with Ricky Starks. My man. Bah! Hit him with it. House of Black is in action. That's Brody King and Malachi Black. Ruby Soho takes on, name change, Ty Mello and not Conti anymore. Chris Jericho is in action after suffering, I don't know if it's humiliating defeat, but it is a defeat. He lost it to the airplane swing. So take that however you may. That's what he did. And then we have the fourth match of the best of 7 series between the Elite and Death Triangle, who are the trios champions of AEW, and that's what that is. Ladies and gentlemen, eventually I will get all the shows on here, but my computer went down, so this is all on phone, and I got to write all this stuff out, and I just don't want to.
You want?
I want to copy and paste everything. That's how I'd rather do it. All right, Insane Dane. Let's jump right into it, brother. What made you want to be a professional wrestler?
Oh, man. I mean, I think I was a late bloomer to begin with. I watched professional wrestling all my life. I know that's pretty cliche, but I did. And then I worked at Pizza Hut for a very, very long time. And I kind of hit this crossroads in my life where I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And I tried a few different jobs, didn't really like them. And then ended up moving back home to California. And I saw an ad on Facebook for Santino Brothers Wrestling, and that was in Bell Gardens, California, still is, run by Joey Chaos, who's one of my favorite trainers, one of my good friends, and lifetime friends for sure. But I think to actually say what got me into it, it was the match I always think about is Ricochet and Aleister Black. I mean, for a style that I don't wrestle anything like, it was just the athleticism of both of them, and to see
Ding.
Well, something's done, and it's not mine. It was seeing their athleticism, but also seeing just how you can entertain a crowd and how you can do something different. And for somebody like me who was very quiet and very I can't think of the word, but
introverted.
Beautiful. You already know. You've driven enough long drives with me to know. Like, this guy says about 2 words the entire time. Very introverted. It's very weird to be on the opposite side of that and be very extroverted, be in a car full of people and drive 5 hours one way for a 10 to 15 minute match. Do your best to entertain a crowd and actually put smiles on faces and make people care about you. So, yeah, that's my long story short.
Good. That's a good answer. So let's go into training. Let's break it through the training. Like, talk about your trainers. I know you've had multiple trainers, so let's go through the list.
as burn through them as long as they'll put up with me until they're done with me, and then I move on to the next one. No, I was very fortunate. All these circumstances just blended one right into the other. I'm originally from Los Angeles, California. Uh, so Bell Gardens was an easy drive for me. It was about an hour each way, but it was tough. It was probably one of the toughest schools I've ever been to, and that's what they pride themselves on. They pride themselves on being Santino tough. Reason being is because they want you to be in the ring with anybody and be able to and not freak out. They want you to feel like you're totally in control and that you're the best wrestler that you can be. And sometimes that just means being tough and being able to sometimes take a hit or take, whatever the opponent gives you. And instead of reacting impulsively, you actually think about it. You're like, wait, we need to do this the right way. So, started there in 2019. I was trained up until right about the end of 2019. I fractured my left wrist, so I had screws and a plate put in there. I took a shoulder tackle. The guy landed on me, and my wrist pretty much snapped back like that. So I had to go straight to the emergency room. They put me in like a little sling, and then I saw the doctor a few days later, and they said I had to have surgery. So that took me out for about 6 to 8 months. And then right after that happened, shortly after COVID happened. So I went from being an easy 200 pounds with all the Santino's training, and I put on 50 pounds of just dead weight. So to go from 200 to 250 was easy, especially during COVID, because I wasn't doing anything. I was watching a lot of the Snake Pit, which for anybody out of the loop, that's just something for wrestlers and for referees and anybody trying to learn and get better. I was taking notes every day. I was studying that stuff for hours on end. Sin Bodhi, Al Snow, Rock Riddle, all these great people are on there giving free advice to wrestlers, trying to make better as wrestlers too. I was doing that for day and night, just filling up journals and journals of notebooks. Um, and then once kind of I was trying to figure out the next steps, and Santino's wasn't ready to open. Future Stars of Wrestling Las Vegas was open. So I hit up Sin Bodhi first, and I said, I've seen you on Snake Pit, and I'd like to head that way. He was very nice to me. He's very welcoming to me, and he actually worked out a deal for me so we could do personal training one-on-one sessions because I was still feeling very green at the time, and I wasn't really sure if I could get back in the ring after such a serious injury for me. I've never been injured like that before. So already having suffered multiple concussions from wrestling and then now fracturing a wrist, I was very unsure if I'd be able to ever do it again. But Sin Bodhi took his time and he's very patient, and he instilled the confidence in me not only to wrestle and to get back in the ring, but to actually instill the confidence of my character and my personality, and pretty much just being very encouraging that I could do this. And so from there, from the personal training, I went to the regular classes. So I started with the beginners. So, and then from there, I would train with the advanced, and I would do a lot of refereeing to kind of get in the ring with them. So the trainers there, you have Sin Bodhi on Mondays and Tuesdays. Wednesdays is generally Kenny King. Thursdays is Cody Hancock, and Fridays is Remy Marcel. And then, of course, you have people like Jake the Snake are in there. D'Lo Brown's in there. And just you never know who's going to show up there. I mean, we've had Booker T seminars, all kinds of people really come through those doors. So I trained there, long story short, from about 2020 right up until 2021-ish. And then I went over to Dr. Tom at the JPWA. I trained there for 3 months. Once I graduated there, I went back to Vegas to see if there was anything left for me to do. I mean, of course, there's always something left to do, but in terms of where I was at, my abilities, and the way the promotions are running there, did I have something that was there a spot for me there? And I spent my time there. I was in training, but I was also still very heavyweight. I was still about 250 pounds at that point. So in reality, there probably was a spot at some point, but I wasn't ready for that. I didn't have the gear. I didn't have the body. I was really passionate about wrestling, but I didn't have the right star qualities to actually sit there and say, hey, I belong on this show. So after I spent a couple months there, thank you to my roommate, Brandon G, great wrestler and great person, human being, who actually let me live in his room while he slept in the living room. So he really helped me out for 3 months I was there. Once I kind of got my stuff together, I moved back to Knoxville, Tennessee. Been living out here since February of this year. So about to come up on a year. And since I moved back, I've been really blessed to be working with Tennessee Championship Wrestling, who really gave me my first match. And as green as I was, to just keep coming back. And now I'm actually very fortunate to call myself like one of the top baby faces for their company. Obviously, one half of the tag team championships. Very grateful for that. And it's also, opened so many doors at EPW Wrestling, SPCW. But besides that, I think opening doors just on my Facebook and my Instagram as well. People saying like, I've watched your progress for the last 6 months. Like, what a change. And it's so easy to look yourself in the mirror every day and be like, oh, no, it wasn't really any change. But when you go back to your first promo, or you go back to your first match, and you look at now, you're like, every school, every coach that has given me time and actually just, given me feedback, whether I wanted to hear it or not, molded me into who I am today. And even though I'm still being molded, I mean, it makes me a better wrestler. So long story short, Santino Brothers Wrestling Bell Gardens, Future Stars Wrestling Las Vegas, and then JPWA in Knoxville. Those are the 3 schools.
Okay, I like doing this one. Take us through. So we're gonna do first match. Take us maybe the morning of that, right before you step out of the curtain, and then how you felt when you came back through the curtain.
So luckily for me, I'm not really a puking person. I've never puked in training, and I just I knew like my first match, I was super nervous. And the guy I was wrestling, he was also pretty green like me, but he was very reassuring. He's like, we got this, and I was just so nervous, especially because I had a huge character change right before I went out. The character that I have right now, which as everybody says, just an extension of my personality. I had pitched that idea to the veteran of the locker room, and they pretty much told me, don't do that. Like, it's not going to get over and it's not going to work. And I had to go with this other gimmick completely on short notice and kind of just had to wing it. And so I went out there very nervous, but trying to be really upbeat and really confident. So going through that day, I mean, I don't really remember the morning of, but I remember definitely like getting there. Like, I was really excited. And trying to figure out the details of how I wanted to go about it, and knowing that, like it was going to be fun, but it was also super nerve wracking. So going through it, I guess I would just say like the nerves were everything. And the nerves played a big part in my match too, because there was moves that I went for where my knee gave out twice, where it was just super embarrassing. But I mean, I still pushed through and finished the match, and I won the match too. So I won my first ever match. So there's that.
It's bull crap. So what's been your favorite? Let's go favorite moment right now. What's been your favorite moment in your career so far that you've got to experience? Or
Yeah, my favorite moment actually just happened not too long ago. We were in Sumner, Tennessee for TCW, and I keep asking for the mic, and I keep getting, maybe, we'll figure it out. We'll see where it fits, and then eventually I kind of own the moment. In Summer, there was me and I started off having a singles match, and that singles match ended up turning into a tag team match. And me and Isaiah Cohn, we won our tag team match, and I was feeling like the crowd was with us. But I remember this Chris Jericho thing where he said he had a match with somebody, and he knew the match could go longer and get the crowd higher. And he did that. And, Vince he went to the back, and Vince was yelling at him saying, why'd you do that? And, I'm going to fine you, this other thing. He said, take my year's pay. Like, we just took them to a level that nobody else could have taken them to tonight, yada, yada. And so I had that itch that I could just take them a little bit higher than where our match went. I mean, we were the main event, and we were doing a Christmas show as well. So we were giving presents out after. So I knew we had a little bit of wiggle room, but I didn't know how much. And I just knew, like, I'm just going to take the bat and swing it. And so I asked for the mic right after, and I pretty much cut a very heartfelt promo that I plan on releasing here very shortly to the public. But I just talked about Isaiah mainly, but I talked about how he's grown so much in the last 6 months. And I've been really lucky for the last couple of JPWA classes to be a part of those, even though in the beginning, I'm very blessed to share car rides with them and give them opportunities at places where they wouldn't typically get it, because I'm already going these places. And so I open my car up to them. But Isaiah, he's been a really good friend of mine, and I watched him grow for the last 6 months. And so I really talked about how he has so much further to go, but he's already done so much. And I talked about also the belt, and how the belt doesn't make us as wrestlers. What makes us are the fans. It makes us is the cheering, the booing, and the reactions. And I mean, I got so far into it that like I made everything heartfelt. Like nothing was generic promo. Everything was straight from the heart. And Casey came up. Casey said a little bit, and then as he's talking, I just started crying. And I was just like, why? I was like, why the F am I crying right now in the middle of the ring? Like, what is wrong with me? And then I just thought to myself, I'm like, because it was real. Like, wrestling's always been real to me, and it's always been real emotions and real reactions. But when you sit there and you tell somebody who didn't know how to wrestle 6 months ago that they've done so much and they mean that much to you, that you can see them as a champion, you can see them doing bigger things in the future. Like, to me, it just feels like a big brother moment of like, hey, here's your pat on the back, but here's also your kick in the butt. So like, we got a lot more work to do in the next 6 months to a year. So that was definitely one of my favorite moments that pretty much wrapped up the year almost. So yeah, I would put that up there for sure.
That's a good response. There's nothing better than getting, I guess, a reaction. You don't want to get nothing.
Right. Yep.
I've recently had my best one it was the best one ever
Mhm.
that I've had. Dude, I posted this kid, posted him. He's laying on the ground, and all I did is just put my arms up and walked around, and the boos were deafening, and that was a good one. That I really liked.
Yeah.
We're different, ladies and gentlemen. He's a nice guy, and I'm a prick.
I'm a little bit angry at SPCW these days, but
It happens. You got AJ Costanza's going around. It
AJ
happens.
got Silas Mason over there. You've got Alexander Monroe. You've got Wayne Moxley over there. You got Bruiser Bob over there. You got a lot of good people there.
It's a good fight. It's a good collection of people over there.
Yeah, most definitely.
So what's been your favorite match besides the one you just mentioned? What's been the favorite match of your career so far?
Good question. Can you not send me these like an hour before? So
No, it's a lot better when you get a genuine reaction off of questions.
My favorite match. This is really a hard one because I don't know that I've had a favorite match, but I've had a lot of really good moments. Because I feel like with my matches, I always watch them back and I critique them so hard, and I'm like,
I feel that.
the other day I said, don't watch this match back to the point where like you're over analyzing every little thing. I said, just watch it back a couple of times. And with me, I still do it. I'm like, oh, there's that wrong, that's wrong, oh, that's wrong, oh, that was stupid. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? My favorite match though is probably a match that I actually had really early on. I had it at SPCW and it was against Big O. And although we knew each other because I used to ref there a little bit, I didn't know how the match is going to go because that's a big dude. That's one big dude. If you ever met Big O,
I've been in the ring with him. I know.
Big O, yeah. And so I didn't know how that was going to go, but going through it and watching the match back, that was definitely one of the matches where I felt like overall from start to finish, like one of my better matches for sure.
And it just takes a good dance partner to go back and forth. Like you're like, I don't know whose quote it was, but they said you're only as good as the person you're in the ring with.
100%.
So you can be an all-star if you want, but if you're in the ring with somebody who's not going to give it to you or not going to react for you, or you're going to have a trash match. Like, that's just how it goes.
Yeah, that was actually a really interesting experience. Was this last SPCW show? Was Dr. Tom Pritchard gave me the challenge of putting me in there with Brian X, and Brian X, like Isaiah, never wrestled before this. Very fresh off the whatever you want to call it.
Training.
Yeah, fresh off training. Yep, there you go. But yeah, he's just a kid with a lot of piss and vinegar, and he just needs to know where to put it. And Doc was like, "Well, we're gonna put you in the ring with Dane, and we'll see what you guys can do." And so I had that opportunity to be like, I'm only as good as he is. So either I can, take advantage of the situation and make myself look like a star, or I can build both of us to be stars and make the crowd actually give a crap about somebody that they don't know. So that was definitely an interesting experience for sure.
I've been there. So give us a good road story. Give us a good road story.
Some of the best road stories happened when I first moved out here because it was snowing, and I didn't realize that it snowed in Tennessee because I was out here when it was hotter than hot. And there's so many stories between me, Wayne Moxie, and Rabbit Rogue of just driving on the road, and it's just iced over like a son of a gun, and Rabbit's just driving there. driving. I'm looking at him in the passenger seat. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, how are you driving like there's nothing going on right now? He's
Because
like, oh,
he's from Wisconsin.
from Wisconsin. He's like, this happens all the time. To the point where he had a like a wooden pole to hit the ice off his tires. Because when we get back to the Walmart parking lot, his tire would be like this, and the ice will be like this all around it. And he's just gnawing it off like it's nothing. I'm just like, I'm glad I'm not driving. We'd be here 10 hours later.
Right? I feel that.
Yeah,
I do feel that.
It happened when there was snow on the road, that's for sure.
Oh, Rabbit's a good dude. I like me some Rabbit. So what would be your best advice now that you've been in a minute to somebody super green, maybe just looking to get into it? We always give them the same one: find a reputable school, blah blah blah. Besides that, what would be your best advice you would give some young gun trying to get into professional wrestling?
Yeah, most definitely. And I think, like you just said, it's cliche advice, but find a reputable school, of course. Find a reputable trainer. Just because it has the name on it doesn't mean anything if the trainer's not there. But I think also, too, coming from somebody who was 250 pounds and lived that life as a wrestler and didn't get bookings, get in shape. Right now, for anybody who doesn't know, I went from 250, I'm down to 215. And then the last couple months, I put on 3 pounds and also dropped 10 pounds with having a personal trainer. So if you are a wrestler and you're a big guy and you do that, like, by all means, I'm not one to judge. You be whatever size you want, as long as you're keeping your dance partner safe. But I would say just that alone, like, be in shape, be in the shape where you can actually to make sure the other guy's safe. Because if you're in there and you're reckless, or I mean, I've had that happen a couple of times now with green guys where they just throw a reckless shot or whatever, and I'm like, you could have broken my nose, like that was close, or like you lose a tooth, like that sucks. And another coach that I love to death, Sin Bodie. Sin Bodie would always say, like, you can say sorry all you want, but sorry doesn't pay the hospital bill. So, yep, sorry, yep, sorry, broke your nose, but who's paying the hospital bill? So goes with anything. So make sure your dance partner's safe, and make sure that I mean, Doc says it all the time, and I'm still learning it. But take your time with everything. Don't rush things. Make sure people are safe, but also make sure that you're making everything. If it doesn't matter why you. As a very green guy, other than that, I would say get involved. Start going to promotions. Start meeting people. Start doing ring crew, and don't be afraid to work positions. I've been a photographer. I've been a videographer. I've been a ring crew guy. I've been a ref. I've obviously been a wrestler. I've never been a manager. I wouldn't be against it. I'll fill in any position as needed, but be willing to do anything and be ready for anything, because you never know what somebody might need, and that might be the difference making between you getting a job and not. Like, Sin Bodie would always tell us the Santino Morello story that Vince went backstage looking for a guy to speak Italian. Yeah, didn't even know the way through, and then taught himself in between then and his debut how to speak it and to be the part. And so that's the difference between him being a star and him not. It was just him, faking it till he makes it. But you also got to put in that effort. Like, if you're not passionate about it, you got to be honest with yourself. And, do I really want to do this? Or I really want to put in the work? Because wrestling isn't some overnight success. Like, for me to actually become a tag team champion and actually have the crowd behind me where I could cut that promo, like, it took me a legitimate year to get there. So it's not something that, you're coming off with no experience and then you get trained and then boom, you're on the road and you're just getting booked everywhere. Like, all that stuff takes time. So if you really want it, be ready to be patient, but also be ready to put in the work for it, for sure.
I feel that. If so, okay, this is another good one. This one I like. If you could get in the ring, past, present, with anybody all time, who would be that dance partner for you?
So I can't speak too much about the recent experience until a later date, but I can speak a little bit about the fact that we recently had Ricky the Dragon Steamboat at our school, and I did share just a few minutes of ring time with him. I shared just a few minutes of ring time with him, but the amount of knowledge that he was able to drop on us on such a short amount of time, and how to, something Sin Bodhi says all the time too, is getting more out of what you're doing, getting the most out of a move or getting the most out of a hold, was something that Steamboat really honed in on. And it's something that, he was, for as green as we are compared to him, he was so patient, understanding, and he knew how to direct us in a way to show us, hey, this is how you could get more out of this, or this is why you should do this instead of that. And he knew how to pose questions to make us think about, to give him an answer that he knew was going to be wrong, but then say, okay, but now think about it this way, and then go, oh, duh, like, why didn't I think of that before? So for Steamboat being Steamboat, I would say Steamboat, just for, the most recent experience and just so much knowledge he dropped on us, for sure.
I feel that. Oh, so I already know the answer to that one. Okay, let's do top 5.
Mm-hmm.
Top 5. What's your top 5? And if you give me one wrestler that's not in the WWE, I will be so excited. So everybody's like, Undertaker, Stone Cold, and I was like, there was more than the Attitude Era, I promise.
Yeah, Insane Dane's definitely number 1, because you got to put yourself over. And he's not in the WWE yet. No, I think top wrestlers, do tag teams count as one?
Sure, let's do that. It saves the spot.
I grew up loving DX. I love the comedy bit of it, but also love the seriousness of it. When they can get in the ring, they can really grind down. I'm trying to think more independent wise. Even I would say especially more so before Brody King was even signed to AEW. I didn't really know who he was until I got to Santino's. But if you really watch the athleticism and the abilities that Brody King has as a big guy, and we want to talk guys having weight on him, like Brody King's got some weight on him, but that guy moves like a feather. So Brody King for sure. Other top wrestlers that I really enjoy, technical wise, man, this is hard, but I would really even say I put Blake Christian up there. Blake Christian's a really good wrestler who I've enjoyed watching his growth. In terms of just being a straight, I'm trying to not cuss, but in terms of being man, can I say the A word?
Yep.
Okay, in terms of being a straight badass, Alley Catch for sure. I didn't really know her until I watched GCW, but seeing some of the stuff that she does and her athleticism as well, really impressive to me. And 5th one is gonna have to be, and again, just for their growth, man, Max Caster. Didn't know Max Caster until he got into AEW, but if you go back, and there's one match that I hone in on, which is Alley Catch versus Max Caster, and he's doing a lot of the same stuff he did then now, but how much worse he was then to now, and in such a short period of time too. It's like, it gives me the motivation to want to do more and to be better and to really clean up the stuff that I do as well, because he makes it look so crisp now. Not that he wasn't before, but you could just tell the difference of his confidence, but also his ability in the ring is just mind-blowing. So I'd say those top 5.
Okay. So as a big man, do you like wrestling bigger guys? Do you like wrestling the small, scrappy guys? What would be your go-to?
I would say the smaller guys, only for the fact that in most matches I'm in with the smaller guy. Like that's more where my confidence level is. That's where my storytelling is. But I think if I had more experience with bigger guys, I'd still think I would say smaller guys, because any match with Rey Mysterio, right? Rey Mysterio is the underdog, and you watch him fight up, and you watch him sell, and you watch him go through pain and anguishment, and you feel bad for him. And then when he finally gets up and he's finally starting to get back to the bad guy or the good guy, depending on the situation, like, you really want to cheer for him. You really want to get behind him. So that makes me enjoy wrestling smaller guys. But I also, like, Brian X was a pretty big dude, and I think we put on a pretty solid match for what it was, for it being his first match. So, smaller guys, but wouldn't mind a big guy match either.
Okay, so here's one I don't ask ever, but I had somebody ask me about it. So with professional wrestling being on the road all the time, there's like a lot of room for doubt, depression, and stuff like that. A lot of people go too soon because they have, I don't know, built or dug themselves in such a hole that they just can't get out of. And
Yeah.
like, this business is up there with I think, what was the stat I looked at? Chefs. So chefs, professional wrestlers, long haul truckers, and there's another one. All have like an 85% addiction rate.
Okay.
And they also have like a very high suicide rate in
Sure.
these professions.
Mm-hmm.
Have you yourself ever felt like depressed or anything like that? And if so, what would be your advice for somebody who's kind of going through that kind of thing?
Yeah, yeah, and I would say before we get canceled by on the road, we are on the road every weekend. We're not on the road every day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think this kind of comes up to my, my comment to you earlier about it before we did the show was because I mean, if there was a couple things that if you asked me what I was most passionate about getting into wrestling and what I wanted to do in wrestling, it wasn't so much like, hey, I want to go to WrestleMania or hey, I want to have this specific match. It was, and I did this interview like really early on. I did it at Future Stars Wrestling with Ben Hall. He asked me like, what are you trying to get out of this? And I said, honestly, like to be like John Cena and do the Make a Wish bit. Like that means so much to me to actually give kids that moment and to give them hope or confidence or whatever it is. Like that means the most to me in my heart. So I know that, you and I were kind of discussing this earlier because a Twitch from Ellen passed away due to suicide. And for me, like we could do a podcast on this alone, but the very short answer to it is I've had depression and suicidal thoughts since about middle school. I didn't really get any help for it until after after high school for sure. So probably around like my college years was when I actually had to go into a psychiatric ward and stay there for about 2 weeks and get medication and kind of go through the classes and stuff like that. And so yeah, I mean depression, anxiety, suicide thoughts, like Insane Dane, although it is comedic and although it is serious at times and although it is very psychiatric at times too, it's really just a piece of my life. It's a piece of I spent that time in the psychiatric ward, and when I spent that time going through all these dark moments that can really occur to me at any time, like there's no warning. It just happens sometimes, and sometimes like I'll just lay there for hours and wondering like what the point of life is. But um, the one thing I would say in terms of advice is find what works for you. What works for me to be able to go to sleep at night is medication. But also what works for me is professional wrestling, and not to be cliche, but like professional wrestling quite literally saved my life. When I had nothing else and when I thought like I had nowhere else to go in life, professional wrestling opened up this other world that I didn't think these things were possible. I didn't think I could be a champion. I didn't think that I'd be a top baby face for a promotion. I didn't think I'd have promoters ask me to be on their shows. I didn't think I'd have a promoter say, hey, what do I have to do to get you back next year? Like to me, that's all mind blowing stuff to me. That's not something I expected to get out of this, especially coming from where I came from. Like a lot of people talk down to me about my professional wrestling and my skills and my character. So um, find something that makes you feel alive, honestly, and find something that kind of gives you a drive. And even if it does, always have a strong support system too. So if that fails, you have people that you can rely on. Um, for me, to not really get too much in my personal life, but I also have a dog. I have a dog that has been with me now for 21, 22. She's about to turn 3, and I've had her for about 2.5 of those years. And so, no matter what kind of day I've had, no matter how late I come back from a show, she's always there with the tail wagging. And she's always ready to cuddle me and go to bed and, play when she wants to play. And she's full of excitement. But also, when I need to cry and I need to vent and I need to just lay there for a minute, like she's right there, and she's ready for anything. So, my dog quite literally is my support system. My medication helps me get through the nights, but also having support system of friends that I can talk to and vent to and say I'm going through this, I'm struggling with this. I've talked to you about a lot of stuff too over our short term of being friends too, but just having those friends that that no matter how dark things get or how deep the struggle is, that you can reach out to people and it is okay. I have a bracelet back from work tour from this charity that says it's okay to not be okay. So many times, like growing up, like you're told to be strong and tough it out, but it's okay to sit there and be frustrated and cry and be angry and be upset. And for people on the other side of it, and people who may not be going through it, but you don't know if somebody's going through it, there are signs 9 out of 10 times, and not all the times you'll see them. Sometimes it's too late, unfortunately. But if somebody's sitting there and openly saying, I'm sad or I'm deeply hurting or I'm depressed, don't take it lightly, because that may be the last time that they say that. You know what I mean? And I would rather sit there and tell somebody what's going on than just say, yeah, okay, you'll be over it tomorrow. And then there is no tomorrow for them, because that was what they felt was going to be the darkest part of their life and they couldn't get through it. So if you have a moment just to check on somebody when you think, you know what, maybe they're not. Maybe when they're saying I'm okay, they're not really okay. You might actually save a life, quite honestly. And so that's my long short story.
Those good stuff. Those good stuff, ladies and gentlemen. If you are feeling these ways, seek advice, seek help, reach out to a friend, call a phone number. There's reach out to a website. There's a million ways to. I know it's not any weakness or anything like that. People go through lots of things. I am the most introverted extrovert that I've ever met on the planet. Like, you know where I'd rather be at all times? At my house. Like 5,000%, I would rather be in my own home. But there's that nagging side of me that needs to be out there on the road or be out there entertaining somebody. Or as much as being a bad guy is a fun thing, like at the end of the day, we're all people and everybody should look out for everybody. I know it doesn't work that way, and I've heard lots of things of that guy's too weird to be a wrestler. That I was like, I'm gonna be blunt right now, and I'm gonna say one expletive, and that's it. That's fucking stupid. Because wrestling's for everybody. If you look from Dusty Rhodes to you got like a Goldberg or a Brock Lesnar, wrestling is meant for everybody. So if you have a closed off mindset and you're like, oh, you gotta be built like EC3 or somebody like that, you're fucking wrong. This business is for everybody. But do get in the gym and don't cut car promos because it's trash. I'm sorry. That's okay. Blah, blah, blah. Enough of that. But yes, do check out for advice and help and all that good stuff, and don't be a prick. So where is Insane? Where do you see yourself, Insane Dane, in 5 years? Like as a professional wrestler, where will you be, or where do you hope to be?
Yeah, I mean, to be quite honest, I think that answer is consistently changing, especially as I get into better shape. The boundaries and the limits of what I thought I could meet are being passed, especially on a very quick basis. Um, so, I mean, to be a champion, let's talk about that for a second. Like, be a champion is a big deal for me. Like that to me kicks me into another drive, and brings me to another level of performance. So I mean, when I first started wrestling, all I wanted to do was have my first match, and then I had it, and I didn't know where to go from there. And then I kind of just weaseled my way through, and then now I have my first championship belt, and now I've done that, I'm kind of wondering the next steps. But I think the next steps right now, I mean, I've been very lucky to be an extra for All Elite Wrestling and Impact Wrestling, so I think beyond that is to actually have like a tryout match when I'm ready for it, and to be signed somewhere. And I always told people, like, everybody, oh, do you want to get signed to W or AEW? Like, what's your dream? And I was like, honestly, my dream is to go where I fit in, because to me, I mean, obviously the company environment matters, but if my character isn't going to survive in the place that I want to be, I'm not going to force it. I'm going to go somewhere my character could actually thrive and can get the full I guess the word is extent, but I guess to thrive as much as I can in whatever environment I'm given. I'd rather thrive and kind of flower that seed. Flower that seed. What am I talking about, Jackson? Now I'm getting the insane side. Water the seed. Jeez Louise. Make me think about all this stuff. Water the seed wherever the most water is. So if the most water is in WWE and that seed grows into a big plant, great. And if it's in AEW, great. And if it's in Impact, great. One of my good friends that used to train with Jay Vidal just got signed to Impact Wrestling and is getting a lot of attention, which is great for him. He's worked his ass off for it. And so to see that happen to somebody who's close to me means a lot. I mean, I missed out on why am I blanking on his name? Because I don't want to say the wrong name. He's in NXT and he's from JPWA, and he has like.
Oh, you talking about good old Jake Tucker?
Jake Tucker, yeah. I didn't want to call him the wrong name, but if we're gonna call him his indie name,
Channing Lauren or whatever. Stacks. Let's call him Stacks.
Right, I don't want to call him the wrong name, but yes, I mean, I missed him getting signed. I wasn't there in that time period, but it's cool knowing that I'm going to a school and I'm training with a trainer who helped him get to where he is, and so doing all those things is very important to me.
You're leaving out Ivy Niles. She is also a JPWA grad.
Right, I did see that, but more
she
so
scares me.
Yeah, I actually saw her at the when I went to the SummerSlam WWE tryouts, and I was just a viewer. I saw her in the ring and actually like leading people through drills, and I was very impressed. Like, it's very cool to see, um, even though she's so new to WWE, that they're still giving her opportunities like that to get involved. So that was really cool.
She's a stud. She is a stud.
Yeah,
Phew. She's still to this day premier, what is it? Premier martial arts. Literally, she, like, if you look at their page and you play the video, she's in there the whole time.
there
Like,
you
it's just her.
Yeah.
She's a shoot badass. She will choke you out. Like, it will happen.
Yeah. Also, for Zoe Starks too. Zoe Starks is originally from Future Stars of Wrestling. Sefa too as well, being in and around that environment, around those people as well, seeing them get signed and go on to do big things that they are right now and have the storylines that they do. It's very motivating. Just want to add those in there too.
Yeah, going back to Stacks, to Jake Tucker over there. Oh man, he improved light years. I got the chance to speak with Natalia for about like an hour and a half or whatever it was, and she talked so highly of Jake the whole time. She put him over, and she wasn't even putting him over to put him over. She's like, his drive and just seeing him like excel. He just had a match with arguably like one of my favorite. He's in the top 10. Wes Lee of the Rascals.
I thought you were going Shinsuke.
Oh, I can't do that because I can't stand up in here. I got to jump up on a table. Shinsuke Nakamura, he's great. My goal has always been New Japan. That's the place I want to go. I want to get in there and fight like a Ishii or a Minoru Suzuki or something. Like, I'll go Noah too. I don't care, but I just want to get in there and fight those guys because I've gotten my taste of those dudes chopping me all around, and I'm like, because I hated it at first. I was like, oh, this sucks. But then like I saw OT earlier. I think that was OT or somebody. I don't know who that was. It was OT. He knows what I'm talking about. That getting in the cage and banging with people.
I don't think that's how you word it, but yeah.
It's punching each other. When I got into the ring with giant people in wrestling, because usually there's weight classes in professional wrestling, not the case. I'm not gonna lie, dude. I was scared, and I was like, I've got punched in the face. Now, if you chop me, like, we're gonna have some fun.
Yeah.
But you got to get through all that stuff. So, what would be your highlight besides winning the tag team titles of 2000? What is it? 2022? Yes, 2022.
It is a hopefully soon to be highlight. I gotta quickly put over my fan base, my family, my friends. I'm currently nominated for EPW's 2022 Breakthrough Wrestler of the Year award, and there are some great people on there like Perky Will and Marco Hangtime Harris. Are all nominated for that award as well as Logan Stunt is on there as well. There's some other names on there as well, but I was very blown away because they just announced it a few days ago and I had no warning. I was just popped up on my news feed. I'm like, I'm nominated for breakthrough star of the year. Like, what? And I was like, okay, like, let's try and win this. Because last time I was nominated for an award was right around the end of last year, and me and my tag team partner Brandon G, we were nominated for promo of the year, and we were only a few votes off. And I texted him, I was like, hey man, like, I'm gonna win this for us, like, we're gonna get this award. And I've been posting all about it on my social media, and the amount of people that have watched me grow and seen my success, and people just in general who are willing to support me, because it's free. If you just take a second, go on the link, type in Insane Dane, that's all you have to do. It's on Facebook. The amount of people that came through, I think right now we're probably over 80 votes
and like 60 of them are yours.
And, well, no, 80 alone.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry,
we were
boys.
Today, and we went up about another 20 the last couple of days. I posted about it on Instagram, and just once again, just people who follow me on Instagram were like, hey, send me the link, hey, let me help you vote. And so out of 160 comments, 80 of those are mine, and I mean, half of those comments are just people just shooting the S word. Can't cuss on here, but
you can actually.
Oh, well, I don't want to. I want to go place. I'm trying not to get banned. Started, but people are just talking mess and not really there's more comments in there than votes is what I'm saying, is that people are just also in there saying like, hey, hello, whatever. And so the fact that over half of those comments are mine, and keep in mind there's probably about 7 or 8 people being nominated for that award, and half of those are mine, I'm kind of like, my chances might actually go for this. And considering I've only been in that promotion for less than half a year, that if I win that award, which we'll know Saturday at 5 p.m. when they cut off the deadline, and I sit there and I meticulously count all those votes and count them all up, that is probably going to be my highlight of the year, is winning Breakthrough Wrestler of the Year award for EPW.
I guess I have to wait till next year. Oh, it's not Oklahoma, it's Mississippi. Sorry, guys. My bad. Okay, I think we've run through pretty much everything I had for you. Let's go through social media. Tell the people where they can find the Insane One.
Yeah, most definitely. If you're on Instagram, you can find me at _insane_Dane, because somebody took Insane Dane. They only have one post on there, and they refuse to give it up, apparently, because they are very held on to that one random picture from 2012. But _insane_Dane on Instagram. On Facebook is Dane Burns. I do not have Twitter, so if there's a Twitter phrase about it, then don't find me there. But other than that, those are the two main places I am: Facebook and Instagram.
So give them some upcoming places to see you towards. Do you have any more matches upcoming? You do. You just said them. Give them to them again.
Yeah, so SPCW will be December the 24th. I'll be in La Follette, Tennessee.
Stop that. La Follette. You and Daisy Kill, you guys can't talk.
Lafayette, which is in North Carolina or something.
Louisiana or something like that, yeah.
Yeah, geez. Why do you have to do these after like 8 o'clock? It's my bedtime. So SPCW, Southern Pride Championship Wrestling, ran by Matt Bowens. And then EPW, which is going to be in Boonville, Mississippi. Those are the two places I'll be wrestling before the end of the year. And then right now I'm currently signing contracts for January. So I'll be seen on weekly Fridays, and then obviously weekly Saturdays, depending on the promotion. And then looking to fill up Sundays. So
you find the Sundays, you let me know, because there's like 5.
You let me know.
Dude, they're hard. There's like
they're very
5
hard.
of them. I missed 127 Pro Wrestling. That was on Thursdays, and that was a great filler. Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been my guest, the Insane One, Insane Dane. Breakthrough Wrestler of the Year. I'm calling it. I know I might be jinxing it. Here's some wood, because I'm knocking on it right now, but I'm pretty sure you're going to be your EPW Breakthrough Wrestler of the Year, because I've only been there 3 times. Just kidding. He's a great wrestler himself. So go vote. Go check all that out. Insane Dane. It was great talking to you, brother.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you again. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Jackson Black Show. Thank you for tuning in. Catch the audio version of this available tomorrow, probably in the afternoon whenever I get to it. Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen, have a good night.
Bye.